Welcome to Share Talk, and I'm joined by Michael Masterman, who's Executive Chairman at WRES, and by Fernando De La Fuente, Country Manager, also obviously at WRES. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
It's a pleasure to be here, Zach.
Right, just wanted to go into, I've got lots of shareholder questions here, which probably take us like a couple of weeks to answer. There are a lot of detail here as well, but the gist of the first question I'd like to ask you really is, a shareholder here has been invested for up to 5 years. It's been a long journey. What's the visibility on how long the rest of the journey is going to take?
So we've made huge amounts of progress over those 5 years. The key next, if you like, kick-off point is the debt financing of the expansion of La Perla to 2 million tonnes of ROM, producing about 2,500 to 2,700 tonnes per annum of tungsten concentrate. We see that probably as the big inflection point in the share price, and that's 4 to 5 months away.
Right, so that'll cost what, $25 million, something like that?
Yeah. So we've announced to the market that we're doing a $25 million US debt financing. That process has started with various advisors, and we're starting to talk to the various banks and funds that are keen to participate in that. Debt financing usually takes somewhere between 3 and 5 months to complete.
Right, and just to understand that, that you get a loan for $25 million. How long does that take to pay off?
Well, La Perla is the asset we're financing, and La Perla has very low operating costs and very low capital costs. So put that in context, it costs us $25 million to develop La Perla. Wolf spent about $250 million. Our earnings from La Perla, because it's very low cost, are significant. We're looking at forecast prices of around about $15 million US in the first year of production, increasing to around about $21 million in the second year of production. So we're looking at probably a 2 to 3 year payback in the debt.
So that's pretty, not being an expert in the mining area, but that seems to be pretty good payback for all concerned. Is that correct?
Yeah, look, we've already invested equity capital in the project. The debt component's relatively conservatively financed, and what the debt advisors call the debt service ratios are low, allowing us to repay debt quite quickly.
Fernando, you're the man on the ground there. Just give us an idea of what the main project is, and how it compares to other projects you worked with maybe in the past.
Yeah, well, it compares very well with other projects of the same commodity of tungsten, because we have a very large deposit. It's not high grade, it's low grade, but also our operating and capital costs are one of the lowest in the world. So probably it's within the lowest quartile of all the operating costs in the world.
Right. This, as the shareholder here says, it's a 5-year odyssey. Have there been any particular delays or reasons for delay, or has everything gone as you'd expected?
No, everything's gone as we expected. It's not easy. Normally, to bring a deposit into a mine takes a long period. The average time to bring a mine into production is normally above 10 years for that easy one. And some mines take even 15, 20 years to get into production. So.
Right, and you've obviously seen the cycles in tungsten and I suppose the mining sector. Where are we now in the cycle?
Well, we are, you mean in the cycle of the commodities?
Yes, exactly, yes.
Well, I think that we are, it's more and more difficult now, because things change more rapidly than in the past. So the cycles are now shorter, and but I think that we are more or less in the center of a cycle. So we expect the tungsten and tin prices to increase in the next few years. After that is a crystal ball exercise, but at least we expect that the prices will be increasing in the next 5 years or something like that.
Right. You announced earlier in the year that you'd have the gold and copper assets to be IPO'd. What's the timing on that, and what can we expect? What are you expecting from that?
Okay, so we've announced to the market that we're planning to spin off the copper and gold assets. We're doing the key work at the moment on audited accounts, competent persons reports, design of what the company structure, in particular the capital structure of the assets will look like. I think we'll have that core work finished in the next 2 months, and we'd aim to give shareholders an update in terms of plans and timing in September, October.
Right, okay. Going back to the ground again, what's the revised timeframe for REGWA? That's one of the shareholder questions.
REGWA is still on schedule. We expect to have REGWA in production by the end of 2018 or early 2019. As nothing has happened that might think as that there will be a delay.
Right. Another question here. Michael has mentioned paying dividends in 2019, 2020, which sounds like a wonderful concept. Is this still possible, or will he be concentrating on paying off the debt as soon as possible?
Well, look, with dividends, a board's always got a look at its debt position and its cash generation position. We want to get WRES generating and getting cash back to shareholders quickly. Probably, I think the first bonus, if you want to call it that, will be the copper gold shares, which will be distributed. And then following that, strong earnings, 220, 221, that's when we should be able to look at dividend policy and how best to get cash back to shareholders.
I mean, the copper gold assets are really almost like to make up for, let's say, the longer journey that many people had expected.
Well,
Early bonus, let's say.
Yeah, an early bonus.
A loyalty bonus, let's say.
Yeah, an early bonus, I think.
Right, okay. Somebody's talking about the crusher. The crusher was supposed to be ordered in June. Can you update us, please?
Yeah, the crusher is almost ready to be ordered, so it will be next week or week after next.
Right, and what's the cost of that, just for people who are not aware of the whole process? Then?
The cost of will be slightly above 3 million euro. 3.1, 3.2 million euro.
Yeah. Right, so I mean that's quite an expensive asset.
Yeah, piece of equipment. Yeah. Yes.
And then after that, you'll be able to. I mean, this is like the latest equipment. You'll be able to produce on a large scale.
Well, we have 3 pieces of plant, what we call 3 different plants. One is the crushing plant, that is the initial one. Then a pre-concentration plant that is composed of jigs and another milling process, and then the final concentration plant. So the jig plant is already ordered. The crushing plant will be next week or week after next, and the final plant, the concentration plant, is well advanced negotiations with the suppliers. So we expect to close the deal with them in the next 1 or 2 months.
Right. Just finally, Michael, I mean, you're making assumptions clearly about the tungsten price. What are the main drivers, the positive drivers, over the next 2-3 years as far as you're concerned? Because obviously that is critical to the whole issue.
Well, look, the tungsten price has certainly come up quite a lot in the last 6 months. It's gone from around about 190 to 225. Tungsten is very much driven by industrial production and world growth, and we're seeing China's still growing strongly. The results out today show very strong growth in China. Europe is now performing far better than anybody expected, and you're still seeing the US economy. So this is probably the first time you've seen the 3 major global economy groups actually growing consistently strongly, and that's going to translate into stronger commodity prices and tungsten prices.
Right, and I mean, just to finish off, the share price of WRES, clearly private investors are obsessed by these sorts of things. Is that something which is just going to be proved irrelevant over the next 6 months or so?
I think it's very disappointing to myself and the rest of the team that the share price has been trading lower than it really should be. I think we've got we've made very considerable progress on a whole range of fronts: grants, resources, reserves, and other initiatives, and that should be translating through to share price growth. I think probably the key near-term trigger is getting some non-dilutive debt financing in place, because that then makes all of the earnings we're looking at on La Perla and then subsequently REGWA all fit together.
Michael Masterman, Executive Chairman of WRES, and Fernando De La Fuente, Country Manager. Thank you very much for coming in today.
Thank you, Zach.